A nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. This single sentence defines the importance of soil. Soil refers to the top layer of the earth's crust on which plants, animals, and mankind are hugely dependent for their survival. It sustains all forms of life, including lots of microbes, and initiates plant growth. Soils are major powerhouses of several vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. The composition of soil reflects its fertility. Fertile soils are generally made of appropriate proportions of several nutrients and include both biotic and abiotic components such as many microorganisms, humus, air, water, and inorganic minerals. The fertility of soil is also determined by its texture, climatic conditions, amount of humus, and organic matter. India, being a vast landmass, has varied relief features, landforms, and vegetation types, which have led to the development of several types of soil. While alluvial soils are the most fertile and rich for crops like wheat and rice, black soils are rich for the growth of cotton. Red and yellow soils, on the other hand, are rich for crops like tea and coffee. Laterite soils, while being acidic in nature, are good for the growth of rubber and cashew. Other soils, such as arid soil and forest soil, are also prominent in various small portions of India. Despite knowing the essentiality of soil, humans often destroy the balance of nature. Human activities and natural occurrences often lead to the removal of the top layer of soil, which is termed as soil erosion. Let us learn more about this type of land denudation. Soil erosion refers to the denudation of soil cover and the washing down of the topmost fertile layer of soil by the action of both natural and human factors. Generally, soil erosion and its formation take place simultaneously and balance each other. But human negligence has led to disturbances in this balance. Human activities such as overgrazing, deforestation, construction, and mining have made way to excessive erosion of soil, while natural factors such as the flow of wind and water contribute to this. Let us discuss about each of these factors and their effects on soil briefly. Often, domestic animals and livestock such as cows and buffaloes graze over lands and sometimes spoil crops too. When these animals graze excessively, the entire area is deprived of its plants, be it grass, herbs, or small shrubs. Plants generally bind the soil together, which strengthens the soil and prevents erosion. The roots of these plants go deep enough to hold them strongly. The removal of such plants forcefully leads to the removal of the top layer of the soil along with the plant roots. The soil then becomes bare and is easily exposed to soil erosion. Deforestation refers to the clearing of large areas of trees, including forests, gardens, or parks. In India, millions of trees are cut every year for several human necessities. Forests are often cleared for obtaining land for cultivation of crops. This leads to excessive felling of trees, which has similar effects to that of overgrazing. Trees, which strengthen the soil and bind the soil, force out a lot of soil when uprooted forcefully. The top layer of the soil is hence damaged, and fertile lands turn into barren lands since sometimes they lose all their humus. Often, large areas of forests are cleared and the fertile lands are used to construct various buildings, housing societies, and offices. Also, construction leads to churning up of soil, making it prone to erosion. After construction, the soil surrounding it can easily be washed away by a heavy wind or a flow of water. While constructing a building, a lot of machinery is used to make the soil ready, which destroys the essence of the soil. Therefore, construction can lead to erosion of soil and loss in its fertility. Mining refers to the extraction of several mineral requirements from depths of the earth's crust. It involves the digging of soil up to several kilometers deep. The pits which are dug are used for extracting mineral content and later are left empty without refilling and covering. This leads to soil erosion since wind flows across these slopes and blows away the top layer of soil. Also, during the rainy season, these pits are filled with water, which further makes the topmost layer of soil wet and later erodes it. Wind often blows over several kinds of soil. When wind comes into contact with the topmost layer, it lifts off and carries away the loose sediments. In this manner, wind contributes to the erosion of soil. The soil which is carried away is then deposited in other areas where the wind is obstructed or when the sediments become too heavy to be carried further. This leads to erosion of soil as well as deposition of the sediments somewhere else. Such kind of soil erosion carried out by wind is called wind erosion. Different rivers, while flowing over soils, display several effects. The flow of water carries the loose topsoil away with it, which simply causes erosion of soil. Similar to wind erosion, water also leads to both erosion as well as deposition of soil. Sometimes the flow of water in the form of heavy floods may destroy the fertility of cultivable soils. In lands having clayey soil, the running water cuts through the soil and makes deep channels, which are termed as gullies. When these gullies are formed, the land becomes unfit for cultivation and is termed as bad land. Such lands in the basin of the Chambal River are known as ravines. Therefore, the flow of water can lead to the deprivation in the fertility and capacity of clayey soils. In some areas, water flows over large land masses in the form of a sheet down the slope. Unlike the previous case, water now erodes the top layer of soil uniformly across the area. Such kind of soil erosion is called sheet erosion. Besides the already discussed factors, plowing in the wrong way can also lead to the erosion of soil. Plowing up and down the slope creates channels and deep gaps between the soils which allow water to flow through them, hence causing erosion. While erosion happens in very less time, formation of just a single centimeter thickness of soil takes up hundreds of years. It is hence very important to prevent soil erosion and conserve the fertile top layer of Earth's crust. Else, soils will be often affected by disturbances from natural occurrences and human activities. It is essential to make sure that soil is conserved and kept safe from natural agents as well as human factors. The effects of soil erosion are much more than just the loss of fertile land. It has led to the deposition of sediments in rivers and streams, obstructing the flow of water. It also causes pollution and increase in acidity of soils. To prevent soil erosion and to protect the top layer of soil, there are some steps we need to follow. Some human activities which cause damage to soil can be avoided. Also, we can change the structure of soil in areas of heavy slope to make sure that water and wind do not damage it. Let us now look at some methods which we can utilize to prevent the excessive erosion of soil. This method refers to plowing across the contours of a hillside instead of plowing simply up and down. Contours are natural barriers on hills such as cliffs and raised platforms which can be utilized to slow down the flow of water when heavy rainfall occurs. As we discussed before, plowing in whichever way might lead to soil mixing and erosion. Therefore, plowing has to be done along these contour lines so that water is obstructed and its speed is reduced. Crops which are cultivated on the hillside are therefore protected and not damaged by water. On the slopes of hills, yet another method can be followed to prevent soil erosion. Terrace farming refers to the way of prevention in which step-like structures are carved out on the hillside to decelerate the flow of water. This method is similar to contour plowing but is slightly different from it. In the previous method, contours, which are naturally formed platforms, are used to prevent soil erosion. But in this method, steps are carved out so that cultivation can be done properly. This reduces the speed of water and prevents erosion. Western and central Himalayas have well developed terrace farming systems. In large fields where crops are grown, strips are created. These strips are nothing but lines of some depth which divide the field into different parts. These strips are sown with grasses and then cultivation is done in the remaining square or rectangle shaped portions. This is done to avoid soil erosion caused by wind. Grass obstructs and breaks the force of wind so that both the crops and soil are protected. This method is known as strip cropping. Shelter belts are rows of trees which are planted around cropped lands to decelerate wind flow and prevent soil erosion. Tall trees are planted around cultivable areas to reduce wind speed as well as bind the soil together. The roots of the trees strengthen the soil while the tall branches reduce the speed of the wind. Shelter belts are mostly used at areas where the soil is loose, like at the shores of seas, oceans, or rivers. Therefore, soil can be protected by using this method too. Besides the above discussed methods, soil can be conserved and protected in many other ways. Some other methods to prevent soil erosion may be afforestation, controlled grazing, building dams, and crop rotation. Afforestation refers to the planting of trees. This prevents soil erosion since the roots of trees hold the soil firmly together. Therefore, soil is strengthened and is not loose. Controlled grazing, on the other hand, refers to the prevention of excessive grazing in the fields by livestock. Grazing must be done only in selected areas. This also prevents soil erosion and protects soil. Sometimes dams are built over the flow of water. These dams reduce the speed of water by storing the runoff. They also block active gullies and prevent the spoilage of clayey lands. They divert the water in such gullies into more safe areas. The practice of crop rotation in cultivation enhances the soil's nutritive quality as well as prevents it from soil erosion. It changes the soil structure and reduces its exposure to water and wind. Therefore, any of these methods can be followed to prevent soil from natural occurrences and human activities. There is a critical urgency of saving soil from excessive erosion. These practices must be followed judiciously by farmers in their fields and by landowners. Currently, there is a severe need to conserve soil. Soil is one of the most vital natural resources on earth. It is the basis of all life. Millions and millions of microorganisms, which are not visible to the human eye, take shelter under the soil. If this layer of life is destroyed, there is no life. Processes such as soil erosion must be controlled to ensure soil protection. Soil erosion poses lots of problems for farmers. While it takes hundreds of years for the creation of a 1 centimeter thick layer of soil, it takes just some wind and water to erode the same amount of soil. It's therefore our responsibility to follow several methods to conserve soil. We must ensure that it is not damaged and well maintained for the future generations. We can hence conclude by taking oath to have respect towards our Mother Nature. This is Shashank signing off. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like, share and subscribe to our channel.